Welcome. In this video, a strategy that I have been forward testing for my wife to pass a prop firm. It's been quite a bit of interest for this strategy on X, where I posted some of those forward testing trades. And so I'll break down the strategy, show you guys some of the live examples to show that it can be traded practically in real time. So some strategies, they may have good back testing results, but then when it comes to actually forward testing them on real time data, it's quite annoying to trade with certain strategies. So this one so far has been very practical to actually execute on live price data. So even some strategies that have the best possible backtesting results end up being kind of annoying to trade in real time, just not very practical to execute in real time. And so this one actually I found to be quite a bit easier to trade in real time. So I'll show you guys those live forward tests that I did as I test this strategy to make sure it's practical and able to be traded on real-time data. And so let's just break down the basics of this strategy before getting into just showing some of those examples on that forward testing. So this centers around strong RSI momentum readings with resets above or below 50. So it's going to look like this. See how we get below 30 RSI, which strong momentum is how we think about that, and then resets above that 50 line. So like down here to up here, we're looking for continuations in that direction of the strong momentum, okay? And so to help us with identifying a more precise entry, also gonna have the Bollinger Bands, shooting star candles, or hammer candles with a 200 EMA for additional trend filter. So we're accounting for volatility with the Bollinger Bands, with the standard deviations. We're accounting for the trend with the 200 EMA. We're accounting for the momentum with the strong momentum on RSI. And then we get those reset pullbacks with that above or below 50 on RSI as well. So here's how it's gonna look. We're going to be looking for that strong momentum reading in our trend direction as determined by the 200 EMA. And so as you can see, we get that here below that 30 line, strong momentum to the downside. We pull back and we get that above 50 reading, but it's over the 200 EMA there. We don't want to see it coming back over that 200 EMA. Bollinger Bands don't even get a touch there. So we can continue looking. We get that, again, strong momentum to the downside here. So we're interested if we pull back above 50. So right here, we pull back above 50 on the RSI. So we can start looking for a shooting star candle that's off of the highs of the current pullback, and also with that reset 50 outside of the Bollinger Bands. And so we get that on this candle right here. And so we get a valid entry as long as it's better than what that candle gave us. So it could have been right at that close. It could be right here. But anyway, it's very practical to trade the strategy because you don't need to enter exactly at that price. It just needs to be at that price or better. So it could be up here, it could be here, anywhere better than when we get that shooting star candle. So that would be the worst possible price for entry. And then we're looking for follow through towards a next untapped low. So we would just look over and we have our next untapped low right over here. So just a swing low. And then we need to have at least a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio, if not better, okay? So those are really the rules to the strategy. The reset, 50 over 50 with our trend. We get outside the Bollinger upper band here if it's a downtrend, shooting star candle, and it has to be off new highs of the current pullback. So if we got a shooting star candle down here, that would not be off new highs of the current pullback. Pullback begins right here. And so at minimum, price needs to get over this high right here for us to have a valid entry. And so that would be the setup like that. And then we go again down here, see how we get the oversold or below 30, which means strong momentum to the downside. We're looking for that 50 reset, happens right here. We get a star up here off our upper Bollinger Band. So we're interested in a short at that point. And so we can take a short anywhere better than that shooting star candle price, and then we're targeting new untapped lows with at least a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio. You guys will see it in the trade examples, but let's see where we have next untapped lows. They're down here. So here's next untapped lows to the left. And so it would look like this for the profit target. And at least 1 to 2 or better. Okay, so it look like that for an entry, and the entry could also be here, it could be here, as long as it's better than where we get that shooting star candle off the upper Bollinger Bands. So it's pretty flexible with the entry, so you could enter over here even if you miss the exact shooting star candle. It just gives some more flexibility so that the strategy is actually practical to trade. It doesn't need to be the exact entry price of that shooting star candle's close, because my wife was having trouble with entering in a timely manner, and so she needed a little bit of flexibility. She's not super experienced, can't execute super quickly on a lower time frame, so that is kind of the reasoning behind that. Just makes it a little more practical to trade, especially for newer traders, and also adding some flexibility in with the risk to reward ratio. It just needs to be 1 to 2 or better, and just makes it a bit easier to trade, especially for newer traders, and just execute consistently, not having to be watching exactly at the time that you get that shooting star candle or that hammer candle if it's the uptrend versus downtrend. So as far as going break even stop loss, we're looking for a push to the lower Bollinger Band if it's in a downtrend, but just the opposite Bollinger Bands. If we push into that, you can go break even, as long as it's a 1 to 1.5 risk to reward ratio as well. So 1 to 1.5 risk to reward ratio, and lower Bollinger Bands hit, that's kind of the break even stop loss time, and then just continuing to target that next untapped low or high in the trend. So let's just go into the live kind of forward test that I was doing on the paper trading to see if the strategy is actually going to work in real time, and you'll see that here. All right, here's a trade example on Litecoin. So pulled back to the lower Bollinger Band while in an uptrend. We have the overbought momentum on RSI over 70, then resetting that RSI below the 50 there. We also have the hammer candles. We're in an uptrend again over 200 EMA. So looking to buy this pullback, looking for a follow through move. Want to get in at lows of a pullback. The new lows has to be off new lows of the pullback, targeting next untapped highs for a follow through move, and with a good risk to reward ratio. Going break even on the stop loss now that we have a move in the trade's favor and touching that upper Bollinger Band. And here's the conclusion. So hit the next untapped high, hitting that profit target, and so that one was successful. We'll see how the next one looks. All right, now US 500. So you can see we have a pullback after strong momentum to the upside and then resetting RSI below that 50 line. We had the hammer candle, the pullback into the lower Bollinger Bands, and then targeting next untapped highs. So we'll see if this one pans out or not. All right, and now break even. So nice move in the trade's favor, upper Bollinger Band hit, and at least 1 to 1.5 risk to reward ratio. So that one is risk-free. We'll see if this can carry on towards the profit target. All right, there's the follow through towards next untapped high. So that is a success. Let's see what we get out of the next one. Now here's an example on Bitcoin. You can see we have everything there, uptrend, overbought RSI, back to below 50 for the reset, looking for that hammer candle off lower Bollinger Bands, and a follow through towards the next untapped high with a good risk to reward ratio, at least 1 to 2. So there it is. We'll see how it pans out. And there's the follow through towards that next untapped high. So another success. Let's move on to the next example. All right, here's one on Ethereum. So this one actually ends up being a loss, but then I get a re-entry on the same pullback that turns into a win. So let's take a look. This goes overbought, RSI, pullback, hammer candle, lower Bollinger Band, lows of the current pullback, looking for a follow through move, just to new highs. And this one ends up being a loss. You'll see in a sec. All right, so you can see the first one was a loss, but we got the re-entry, got another hammer below that Bollinger Band. So this time better risk to reward ratio, same target. Let's see if we can get the follow through this time. All right, moving stop loss to break even, got most of the way there towards the profit target. So see if this can carry on through. All right, so it carried on through, hitting the profit target range high. So that's it for examples. Let's kind of go into some of the data when I back tested this RSI method. All right, this is me back testing for 300 times in a row how often trends continue when we have a strong momentum reading on RSI followed by a reset to the 50 line. And out of the 300, the results were 58% continuation rate. So we instantly gain an edge just by using the strong momentum on RSI with a reset above or below 50. That's not including a 200 EMA or Bollinger Bands or Hammer Candle, Shooting Star Candle, or so on. So that's just the RSI giving us an edge. All right, that wraps things up for this strategy breakdown. This one is very promising. Looks like combining trend direction with momentum, resets, and volatility being accounted for, and then a trigger candle like a hammer or a shooting star, we get something that's really promising. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Make sure you do some back testing of your own, you can try it out, some forward testing on a paper trading account, see how you like it. And don't forget to follow me on X if you haven't already, posting my trades and what I'm thinking about the market on a daily basis over here. Also, affiliate Bitunix exchange. If you want to trade crypto and you can't access most exchanges due to your geolocation, check out Bitunix. They don't require any KYC or VPNs, so anyone in the world can use this exchange. Check out Bitunix with my affiliate link if you're interested. Thanks for watching and have a great day.